Most of the time you use Dreamweaver's Color Picker or Gradient tool to choose colors. This lesson helps you understand the code generated. You'll also learn how to set a color's alpha transparency to control the amount of background that shows through an element. Solid colors can be represented in several ways. Computers mix red, green and blue in different combinations to create more than 16 million colors. These combinations can be represented either using hexadecimal notation or RGB notation. I'll show you examples of both in a moment. Solid colors can also be represented by more than 100 predefined keywords. You can find a full list of the keywords at this URL. And if you come from a graphic design background, you might prefer to specify colors using hue, saturation and lightness. For historical reasons, hexadecimal notation is the most widely used in web design. Normally, a hexadecimal color is expressed using 6 digits preceded by a hash or pound sign like this. Hexadecimal values consist of the numbers 0 to 9 and the letters A to F. The letters can be uppercase or lowercase. The first 2 digits after the hash represent the red component of the color. The next 2 represent the green component, and the last 2 represent the blue component. The first example here is red, and the second one is orange. Hexadecimal colors can sometimes be shortened to 3 digits like this. The 3-digit version can only be created if both digits in the red, green and blue components are the same. Red has 3 matching pairs, so it can be shortened to F00, but the green component in orange is A5, so it can't be shortened. There's no difference between using the 6 and 3-digit versions apart from reducing the amount of code. Hexadecimal notation is universally supported, so you can use it with confidence. RGB notation specifies the red, green and blue components of the color as a comma-separated set of values, either as numbers in the range of 0 to 255 or as percentages. Both these examples represent red. Like hexadecimal, RGB notation is supported by all browsers. Most graphic designers should be familiar with specifying colors using hue, saturation and lightness because it's based on the color wheel. This example also shows red, but in HSL format. The first value is a number between 0 and 360, representing the position of the hue on a color wheel. The second is a percentage representing the degree of saturation, making the color duller or brighter, and the final percentage represents the degree of lightness, making it darker or lighter. Although all modern browsers support the HSL format, it's not supported by older versions of Internet Explorer, so use it with caution. Modern browsers also support alpha transparency, which makes colors translucent. The code here shows 3 different ways of representing white using the RGB and HSL color formats. Both RGB and HSL produce solid colors, like the opaque white background to the text over this picture of the yacht harbour in Monaco. To make the background translucent, you add an A to RGB or HSL plus a 4th value specifying the amount of transparency. The final value is a decimal fraction between 0 and 1, where 0 is fully transparent and 1 is fully opaque. So these represent white with 80% opacity, allowing the photo to be partly visible through the white background. Although Dreamweaver supports RGBA and HSLA, you currently need to dive into the code to set the degree of transparency manually when using the color picker. The other point to remember about alpha transparency is that it's not supported by older versions of Internet Explorer. Having so many color formats might seem like overkill, but they've been introduced in response to requests from designers, and Dreamweaver supports all of them. If in doubt, use hexadecimal notation for solid colors and RGBA for alpha transparency.